Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Was Neglected and Became New Demon King of Demon Slayers movie. Before we start, please go support IsseiOmniversalCaos for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistaken character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Here Issei will be despised, and to escape that suffering, he throws himself from a building in Kouh, the largest one. Chapter 1. 2 weeks have passed since Trixia's defeat, thanks to the helper courage of his pillar, Hyoudou, the older brother of Hyoudou Issei, who was considered the black sheep of the family. Since childhood, he was ignored by everyone and mistreated in the worst way. Over time, Issei adapted to many things, including the supernatural. He defeated Gabriel, Loki, Diodora, Kouh, Crumb Crash, Rias and Trixia, but Ryu took away those achievements and the women who were going to be with Issei, so he could have Hex with them. Issei tried to make friends with Sona's entourage, but she didn't pay him any attention, nor did any of the others. When he was beaten up by the Kendo girls, nobody helped him. They just ignored him, regardless of his pleas for help. Issei longed to rid himself of the pain he felt in his heart. He longed to take his own life and rest in peace in a better place. Now we see Issei, who was writing a letter in his room. Issei. Hello, I hope you read this letter. I know you'll read it, even if I don't seem important to you. I just want to thank you for being the best parents I've ever been since I was born. I'd never felt that love before, but when Rias arrived, everything changed. You paid more attention to Ryu than to me. No matter how hard I tried to feel that affection, you never gave it to me, only to Ryu, because he was better. I want to tell you to live your lives and not be like him, only caring about achievements and pride, because that will only lead you down the wrong path. To Rias, I say I hope she suffers the consequences of what she did to me in my childhood. To Sona, I say I wish we could have been good friends, but I think that promise we made as children will never be fulfilled. To your peerage, I say may your happiness and that smile you have never fade. Finally, to the leaders and everyone else, I say this. Enjoy the time you have with the people you love most because they won't be with you all the time. There will be times when they leave and you lose your mind trying to fix their mistake, but you must keep moving forward. I wish we could have been friends or something, all of us, but I'll take care of them no matter where they go, I'll be there. Goodbye everyone. Hyoudou Issei. So he puts the letter on the table, puts on the same clothes as in the anime, and leaves the mansion to go to the city. Ryu and the others were in the club talking about things, but Sona spoke up. Hey Rias, what are you going to do about Issei? Rias. I'll remove him from my nobility. I don't want to see him anymore. Asia. If she's president, it's a waste to have her. Kaneko. He's a pervert. Irina. I wish I had never made that promise to him since we were children. But they hear something pass overhead, and when they go outside they see that it was 3 helicopters, one of them a police helicopter, and 3 patrol cars speeding towards the city. This makes everyone think and ask what's happening until they decide to go to the mansion. But when they arrive they are very surprised to find that all the leaders are there, as well as Big Red in office. Sirzechs. Rias. Ani-sama, what's wrong? Azazel. Well, how do we explain it to them? Asia. And that letter. Everyone saw the letter Issei left and upon reading it, they couldn't help but shed a few tears, and for some reason Ryu did too, although he did feel bad for what he was doing to Issei. Rias. Where is Issei? But. News report. In the latest news, a student from Kouh Academy is on the rooftop of the city's tallest building. Reports indicate the young man ran in, and guards tried to stop him, but suddenly his arm transformed into a black glove with red gems, and he climbed all the way to the rooftop. What do you say, Joaquin? We've been told his name is Hyoudou Issei. Everyone who heard that name was so scared that they paid attention to the television, especially all the students at the academy, who, by the way, were attending classes and now had television. In the building, Issei could see the whole city, and the wind ruffled his hair, making it move. Police officer. Stop, don't move anymore and turn around. Issei turns around and in his gaze there was only loneliness and sadness. Police officer 2. Come here right now. Issei. Why? Police. There are people who might be worried about you. Issei. No, nobody ever cared about me, or my well-being or my health. Issei sees the news helicopters and extends his hand only to open it and make the cameras broadcast it not only to Kouh, but to the whole world. Issei. I suffered mistreatment and humiliation just for not being like my brother Ryu. Everyone started paying attention to what Issei was saying, especially his family. They treated me like the black sheep. Nobody cared about me. I always believed someone would come and help me, but not even that. I made a promise to someone that when we met again, we would get married, but no, she herself said when she returned that we were just children and didn't know what we were saying. No matter what promises you make them, they will never keep a promise or oath you made to her or him. Children suffer mistreatment and humiliation just for not being intelligent or for being different. But I've come to tell you all not to be arrogant and hit your children, because it only fills their hearts with hatred and sadness that will ultimately lead to their death. No matter how much you try to change their minds, they won't listen. You'll try to apologize and you'll regret what you did. You do, but there are no second chances. I suffered abuse from my own family and the academy I attended. The girls looked at me with disgust based on false rumors and senseless accusations. I asked for help from the student council, but they didn't even dare to lift a finger to help me or do anything about it. I just wished I had someone by my side, but nothing is possible. She lowered her head, and when she raised it, they saw tears streaming down her face. The children who suffered abuse only cried, and when their parents saw what they were trying to do to get their attention, it was already too late. Some gave them second chances, but others didn't, and they didn't understand what they felt, just like Issei felt, especially the leaders, the Gremory and Sitri entourage, for not helping Issei and doing something. I'll only say this to my family if they see this. Thank you, Garcia, for giving me life and being with me since I was born. Even though it was a short time, it was enough for me. And I'm only saying this to Haruko-chan, Momo-chan, and Ryu-san, be happy, and I hope you find happiness. When you have children, give them the happiness and pride you feel for them, and tell them about me. I was hoping to see you born myself, but he approaches the shore and sees how people are looking at Issei with fear and sadness, and some are covering their mouths. I guess it won't be possible, but at least I'll be watching over you. No matter where you go, I'll be with you. So Issei stops talking and speaks to himself. Are you ready, Abaddon? Abaddon. More than smart, partner, remember this, you were always my best friend and brother. Issei. Thank you, and it was a pleasure being your brother. That's how they broke off communication and he started walking further towards the shore. When the officers saw this, they were so scared that they started moving somewhat slowly. Officer. Stop. In the helicopter, a policeman takes a microphone and says. Stop, you shouldn't do this, maybe there's another way. Issei. There is no other way. Police. Don't do it, we can fix this. I see. There are more like me who suffer and don't care, but it's too late for them too. Issei looks at the sky and it just smiles and says. Here I come Lucy, just wait for me a little. It was already in its final step. Momo, Haruko and Ryu, seeing that, open a magic circle and transport themselves to the building. Issei just closes his eyes and jumps, but as he was falling he feels 3 people grab his hand and prevent him from falling. Momo. No Issei-kun, don't do it. Haruko. Issei-senpai, we're sorry we can't help you, but this isn't the way to get rid of the pain you're carrying. Issei. And how do I do it? Many like me suffer as I suffered or worse. I only wished for their love and friendship, but it wasn't possible. Ryu. Brother, don't do it. I'm sorry I'm not the best brother and I'm arrogant with you, and I took away those triumphs that were yours, but please don't do it. Forgive me, please. Issei. I forgive you, but I've already chosen my path, and this is the right one. He starts to remove his hand from those that were holding him, but put something in Momo's hand. See you soon. So he lets go with a smile, and as he falls he observes how Ryu was screaming and screaming, saying Issei, brother no please, Momo Issei-kun Haruko Issei-senpai. People saw as Issei fell, many screamed and others cried because they understood the pain he brings with him, but above him, he sees something that made him cry as he fell. Lucy. Hello darling. She was a girl like Kaneko, with hazel eyes, blood red hair, very pretty. Issei. Lucy. Lucy. Now we'll be together. Issei. Yes, now we'll both be together. Both. Forever. So they both kiss until they begin to glow. After a few seconds, Issei is seen on the ground with a large pool of blood still flowing from him. His eyes were closed, but tears were still coming out and he was still bleeding. Many people were crying, others covered their mouths because of what happened to him until they saw something impressive. An emerald-colored sphere came out of his body and began to levitate until it was close to a red one. Darling. Issei. We're together now. Both. Forever and always. Thus, both spheres begin to float as they spin until they reach the sky, seen by Haruko, Momo, and Ryu, who were crying over what happened to Issei. The people below no longer had sad faces, but rather faces of some joy upon seeing what had become of both spheres that went to the sky, in addition to hearing the voice of a girl and a boy, many of whom said that the boy's voice was Issei's. More than 3 months have passed since Issei's death. The factions have been devastated by the death of their great hero. Many children from the underworld wept for their hero, as did Issei's family. Even everyone at the academy blamed themselves for what happened to Issei. Many stopped going to the academy because being there reminded them of everything that happened. Seeing Issei's chair was like seeing him again. The student council was already more serious. Momo didn't leave her house, Sona cried at home, or rather in the underworld, for Issei's death. She blamed herself for what happened to him. Baruko was the same, because when Saji told her that he couldn't reciprocate her feelings, he appeared, but she thought he was trying to get closer to do something daring to her. Now we go to the underworld where everyone was gathered. Searches. Well, now for today's matter we will go and see the soul of Hyoudou Issei. Everyone who heard that name made a sad face just from hearing that name again. Azazel. Did Hades authorize you? Searches. Yes, and he told me that he has been doing well these past few days there in the Elysian fields. Momo. Are we going to see him today? Searches. Let's go now. Thus everyone opens a magic circle and is transported directly to Hades' home. In Hades' home, everything is dark, but the magic circles of each clan appear and everyone comes out, the candles light themselves, and Hades comes out of a door with his followers. Hades. It's a pleasure to see you leaders again. Everyone. It's a pleasure, Hades. Hades. Have you come to see Hyoudou Issei's soul? Baruko. Hi, can you give us permission to see it? Hades. You may pass. Thus he opens a gap where a field with green grass, flowers and trees with fruit is shown. Everyone enters, just like Hades, to find out what they will do. They see the beauty of the Elysian fields. Many saw various things in the distance, but then they hear a voice. Ahaha, come on Lucy. Upon recognizing the voice, everyone burst into tears and saw in the distance a chestnut-brown boy of about 8 years old, with hazel eyes and a smile on his face. He was running, and behind him came a girl with red hair. Remove the uniform. Wear a white dress, just like Issei. This was Lucy, who was 7 years old. Lucy. I'm going to catch you, Issei-kun. Issei. You think so? But Issei trips, as does Lucy, who falls on top of Issei, and by mistake they kiss on the lips. Issei. Sorry, no fun. Lucy kisses him on the lips again, but this time it lasts 40 seconds. Issei. He Lucy. Lucy. Sorry Issei-kun, that was my first kiss with the boy I love. Issei. Haha, let's go. They run again until Issei stops when he sees the leaders. Issei. Who are they? Everyone was shocked to see that he didn't remember them. Sirzechs. Hades, what's wrong? Why doesn't he remember us? Hades. When the boy arrived here he asked me to erase his memories of you forever. No matter if you try to revive him, he doesn't remember anyone but Lucy. Ryu. No. Tell me, Issei-sen doesn't remember us. Hades. I'm sorry, but I was planning to do the same because I don't like what they were doing to him. Issei's mother. But. Hades. There's no going back now. He's happy here with her. Many children's souls come here to see them and play. Lucy. What's wrong, Issei-kun? Issei. It's nothing, I thought they were acquaintances, but they're not. Hello, Hades-sama. Hades. Hello Issei. So Issei and Lucy run again, but this time towards the horizon where the sun begins to set. The others start to follow them, but they see that they are already 1,000 meters away. Impressing everyone with their speed, they watch as they stop and see that the sun begins to set. Issei. Ready, Lucy. Lucy. Always ready for this, just like every day. Thus they, like several children, hold hands missing the leaders, but when the sun sets it shoots a green flash that makes all the children disappear. Searches. What was that? Hades. When the sun sets, they disappear when that green flash shoots into the sky. I don't know exactly where they go because I've never seen it. Ryu. But they're okay, right? Hades. If. So everyone leaves, but before they do, they see the champs Issei's one last time until the rift closes. 3 days had passed since Issei's soul was seen in Elysium, but now everything was somewhat calm until something happened. Meeting room. Azazel. Well, Sirzechs, what is the purpose of this meeting? Sirzechs. What are you talking about? I didn't organize this meeting. Michael. If it wasn't you, then who was? It was me. From the shadows emerges a man with white hair, blue eyes, and a white and blue battle-like suit. Ryu. Who are you? My name is Helios, I am a god who can control time and space. Rias. What do you want here? Helios. I want to give them a second chance. Sona. Like a second chance. Helios. I will send them to the past so they can remedy their mistake with the young Issei. Ryu. But. Helios. They can alter time if they wish, they can change the flow of things to remedy everything they did, I can send them back to when young Ryu was just a child, as was young Issei. Azazel. Alright, we'll go. I wish I could see Issei again. Momo. Yes, me too. Tomo. I think there are many of us who want to be with Issei and fix all the mistakes. Helios. Oh, and another thing, there will be changes when you go to the past, so those changes could be somewhat dangerous, be careful. Thus he opens a kind of vortex like a whirlpool in the air where all the leaders enter, the girls, everyone enters until the portal closes and Helios is left behind. Helios. Well, now the mistake they made will be remedied. Thank you very much for sending them to the past. Helios. You're welcome. Now that they've corrected their mistake, things will change more than usual. Issei. Issei. The girls are happy that they're pregnant. Helios. Well, I have to go. Issei. Goodbye. The door opens and out come Kaneko, Asia, Irina, Lucy, Momo, Haruko, Tomo, Sona, Tsubaki, Ria, Yura, Ravel, the entire Phoenix entourage, Elmenhold, Kouh, Yasaka, Jean, Krulteeps, office with a slightly large belly because they are pregnant. But there were other girls they didn't know. Now, going back to those who went to the past, if you want to know why they are now a couple. When they all went to the past, a light blinded them. Ryu was waking up in his room. Ryu. I think I'm already in the past, more specifically my room. Ani-chan, come on, it's time to eat. That was a little girl's voice. Ryu. That's strange, we don't have a sister. Greg. Remember that Elio said there would be changes in the past, this must be one of them. Ryu. You know, now I love having a sister. So Ryu gets up and changes his clothes just to go downstairs and see his parents with a smile, but he doesn't see Issei. Ryu. Oka-san and Issei. I see his mother. Your brother is playing with Lucy out there. So Ryu runs off, but when he sees who he's looking for, he can only cry because he was playing with Lucy. Issei. Oni-san, it's good that you're awake. Ryu ran, but many tears streamed from his eyes that he couldn't control until he reached Issei and hugged him tightly, missing him dearly. Issei. Hey Oni-san, are you okay? Ryu. Sorry. The end. Chapter 2. We see Volley wake up in his bed. Volley. Damn, the trip made me dizzy. But he sees that he was in his room and was still a child, so he goes to the mirror and sees that he had changed. His hair was white, but with some black streaks. Volley. This must be one of those changes that Elio's mentioned on the trip. Someone knocks on the door. Ani-chan, come and eat. It was a little girl's voice. Volley. Another change, like, do I have sisters? Behind the door. Ani-chan, are you awake? Volley. Yes, I'm already awake, one-san. So Volley's sister goes down, but Volley remains thoughtful until he decides something, and that was to wake up Albion. He thought of something very powerful and from his back came out 2 dragon wings, like metal but blue and white, except that these had some spikes on the bottom parts, making him look terrifying. Volley. Yet another change. Albion. I see you've already noticed how things have changed. Volley. I didn't expect her to have sisters. Albion. If I also change I have double the power. Volley. Incredible, but am I still the grandson of the original Lucifer? Albion. Yes, but your strength increased more than estimated. You surpassed the original Lucifer. Rizevim is weaker. Volley. Hey Albion, can I ask you a question? Albion. If tied. Volley. Who were the children Issei was within the Elysian fields? Albion knew who those children were, so he had no choice. Albion. Those children you saw, apart from the ones wearing elementary school clothes, were Issei's classmates. Volley was shocked because those children were about 6 to 10 years old. Volley. What happened? Albion. You see, Volley, in the other timeline I was able to see what happened that day. Issei, as you know, was despised by Ryu and the others, but his classmates didn't despise him. Instead, they loved and protected him like a brother and friend. They were inseparable and promised to always be united, no matter what happened, but then that tragic day arrived. A boy was running, but he didn't realize his notebook had fallen into gasoline and ended up under the school where everything was. Some wires were broken, still sparking, and when he came into contact with it, it caught fire, setting everything inside ablaze and spreading to the upper levels. Issei was still doing his homework, but he had to go to the bathroom. The others stayed behind, but they saw the others running until they sensed something was wrong, as smoke was coming from the fans. This made everyone nervous, and they rushed out, but a strong tremor shook the entire school, and a large piece of the ceiling blocked the door from opening. The classroom began to fill with smoke. Children were running, and Issei, seeing them and hearing the explosions in the classrooms, ran after them, only to find the hallways ablaze. He ran straight to his classroom, but when he arrived, everything was dark. One of his friends managed to see him and approach him. Issei saw this and broke the window, and everyone started running. The others were outside when the firefighters arrived. The teacher counted everyone, but when she realized Issei's group was missing, they tried to go inside, but another piece of the school ceiling fell, blocking their entry. Issei and the others were already near the exit when they saw the rubble, and seeing the broken window, they told Issei to come out. Nino. Run, save yourself. Issei. I won't do it, you are all I have. Girl. You have to unite and be happy with Lucy. Girl 2. Run away. Issei. We promise to always be together no matter what. Girl. You're right, we should do it together. The others knew what the girl was saying, so they held hands, ready to jump. Issei. Okay, on the count of 1, 2, and. Girl. I hope you're happy, goodbye Issei. They forcefully pushed Issei, who managed to go through the window, but when he turned to look at them, he saw several smiles mixed with tears and shouts of be happy. We'll always be together until the day comes. Issei fell to the ground a little way from the entrance due to the force of the push. The others went to help him, but when he saw that the others weren't coming after him, he ran, but. Boom. Issei was sent flying by the shockwave. The children's parents cried as they watched their children being consumed by the fire. Issei began to see the entire school in flames, especially the entrance, but he fell unconscious. Issei woke up in the hospital. He thought everyone else was fine. He even had the things they had asked for. He searched for them until he saw all the children's parents crying, but when they saw Issei, they didn't know what to do. Mother. Issei, what are you doing here? Issei. I've come to see the others, where are they? Father. Issei, it's best if you leave here, please. Issei. No, not until they tell me where the others are. Mother of one of the girls. Issei, please leave. Issei. No. No, I brought them what they asked for. Where are they, please? One of the parents says. Please take him. Two officers grab Issei, but his eyes glow red and at great speed, he manages to break free from the officers and enter where the others were, but when his parents see him enter they can only close their eyes and cry. Nuo. Bali. Them. Albion. If they died in the explosion, their bodies were found that day. Since then, Issei has not stopped lamenting what happened and wished he had died with them that day. Thus, Issei went from being happy to a serious one where he no longer wanted to have friends, and since then he has been left with that trauma. Bali. I didn't expect that from him. Now I understand why he cried when some of the kids at school told him they were his friends. Albion. Yes, but now we can fix that. You must go before that happens, so Issei will never have that trauma. Bali. If it's true we will help and correct our mistake. Back to Issei. Issei. Aoni-san. Ryu. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. Lucy. Hey Issei, could it be that you had a nightmare? Issei. Yeah, maybe that's it, don't worry, big brother. Ryu began to calm down, since Issei didn't understand what was happening to him. Ryu. Don't worry, Issei, even though you have no power, he loves you no matter what. Ryu. I had a really bad nightmare and that's why I was apologizing. Issei. Relax. Issei's mother. Children, come and eat, it's time. The two of them. Yes. And so they proceed to enter the house. It's short, I know, but it's about what happened to Issei in the past. As I mentioned, Issei suffered the trauma of losing his friends. New and upcoming story. Issei the Demon King will follow the same storyline as the anime, but here Issei will have a sister he loves and a large harem, along with Sona's entourage. However, when his brother Alan arrives, he gives the leaders a fake video showing Issei making a deal with the Chaos Brigade. They take the booster Gar from him to give it to Alan, even though Drake didn't want that since he had the best user of all time. But the leaders make a mistake as they awaken a new enemy that surpasses even God. Chapter 3. Now we move on to Issei, who entered with his brother, but Ryu sees the girl who is his sister, who is practically very cute. Hola Ryu-san. Ryu. Hello. You forgot my name again, I'm Izumi. Izumi's smile made Issei blush slightly. Izumi. Come on Ani-chan, it's time to eat. Issei. Let's go, Na-chan. Issei and Ryu went to the table where the food was already prepared. The parents were chatting in the kitchen. Issei's father. I didn't expect this change. Issei's mother. Me neither, but you know I'm glad to have a daughter. We always wanted one but couldn't have one. Issei's father. Calm down, love, we have her now. Come on, it's time to eat. So everyone ate and they were ready to go to school, but Ryu wanted to check if what happened with the fire was today. Ryu. Quick. He thought of something powerful and the booster gauntlet appeared, but now it had 3 gems, some parts were dark red, and the gauntlet was longer. Ryu. A dragon. Drake. Mate, it's good you woke me up. Ryu. Drake, tell me the fire isn't today. Drake. It is today, partner, you must intervene so that Issei's friends do not die, otherwise the story will continue. Ryu. I'll try, Dryag. Now go to sleep, I have to go. Ryu changes and goes to the elementary school called Techno or something like that. Issei went to his school, called Children of Freedom. Izami Hiba attended the same school as Issei. They left, but Ryu knew he should have been careful with the time because the fire started at 11:20. Drake could sense Issei's aura, or rather, what was happening to him. Issei arrived at his classroom and all the children were happy to see him, but others weren't so happy. classes continued as usual. Ryu was also in class, but he was so restless that he fell asleep. He saw Issei's school burn and Issei and the others die, which woke him up with a start. When he realized the time, he was startled because it was already 11:10. Ryu. No. Ryu gets up, missing everyone else. Ryu. Professor, I have to go. Professor. Ryu, what's wrong? Ryu. I have to go, my brother is in danger. Professor. Danger like what? Ryu. My brother's school is going to explode. The teacher was surprised to hear that the school was unstable. Professor. Let's go. So they left and the other children just ran home, some following the teacher and Ryu. At Issei's school, he was leaving to go to the bathroom when a student accidentally dropped his notebook into a bucket of gasoline that spilled down to the lower part of the school. Ryu and the professor were in the car because it would be faster. Greg. Quick, partner, call the fire department, the notebook just fell. Ryu takes his cell phone and calls the fire department. At the fire station the phone rings and you answer it. Yes, what is your emergency? Ryu. Please go to school, children of freedom. Firefighter. Why? What's happening? Ryu. The school's going to burn down. Firefighter. What? Ryu. Yes, fast. Firefighter. We're coming. Attention. We're going to the Liberated Children's School, it's on fire. Everyone pays attention and quickly gets into two vehicles to go to Issei's school. At school, Issei was already returning when he felt a strong tremor. He saw smoke coming out of the classrooms and even more so, children running, but what scared him the most were the explosions that were happening upstairs. He ran inside in search of his friends. Han Ryu. Greg. Ryu Issei is at school. Upon hearing this, Ryu became frightened and wanted to fly away, but they couldn't expose themselves, so he had no choice. Ryu. Professor. Professor. Yes, tell me. Ryu. Please promise me that you will keep everything you see a secret. Professor. I will. So Ryu opened the door and took out his dragon wings, impressing the teacher, but he had to keep his promise, so he closed the door and went faster to the school, where from afar you could see the smoke and even more explosions that were happening. Issei kept running through the burning corridors, he saw the ground in one of the corridors collapse because it was shaking from the explosions. Ryu kept flying with all his strength and speed to save Issei's friends. Issei arrived at the room only to find everything blackened by smoke, making it impossible to see if they were alive or not, but a hand appeared on the glass, and it was a friend of his with a handkerchief covering his mouth and nose. Ryu flew until he reached the school, saw a breach open up behind him, and decided to enter through it to save them. Issei and the others were running and were seen by Ryu, who saw some gas tanks below and inside, until he remembered that the explosion was caused separately by gas tanks. Issei and the others reached the entrance where it was blocked by a landslide. Those outside were terrified for their lives when they saw that they couldn't get out. The firefighters arrived and started throwing water, but wherever they threw it, it caught fire again, and it was impossible to know if the others were still alive or not. Ryu arrived and saw the children about to push Issei. Ryu. Issei. Issei sees his brother and the others. Issei. Ani-san, what are you doing here and how did you get in? Ryu. I came in from the back but was blocked. Listen, we all have to leave together if you want to be happy with my brother. Some girls blushed because they were in love with Issei. Girl. If we want to be happy with someone who became our friend. Issei blushed because they were talking about him. Issei. Okay, hold hands tightly. So everyone holds hands and counts to 3, 1 2 3 everyone jumps through the broken windshields. They all fell to the ground and were just getting up when Issei turned around and saw a 7-year-old girl trapped. He decided to go save her, removing the rubble and they started running, but a tremendous explosion occurred. In slow motion, Issei had turned around because of the blast. Thousands of small and large pieces of glass, and even things from the classrooms, were thrown around. A small, sharp piece of glass traveled until it reached Issei's left eye, who was already turning his head and closing his eyes. Now in normal motion, they were thrown by the powerful shockwave, which traveled at great speed, pushing back some of the civilians outside. Ryu opens his eyes, somewhat weak because he suffered a severe blow to the head. He sees the school in flames and how some classrooms and structures are collapsing. He turns to the children and sees that they are fine, but when he looks at Issei, he sees that he is on the ground with his eyes closed, but his left eye is bleeding. He can even see the glass embedded there. His head is bleeding from the blow. Ryu just started crawling until he reached Issei. Ryu. Issei. Thus he falls unconscious. Ryu began to wake up in the hospital, he could hear the sound of the machine, confirming that he was still alive, or at least his pulse. In front of him were his sister and his parents. Ryu. Oh Oka-san. The mother ran to hug her son, crying because of what he did. His sister did the same, as did his father. The three of them separated, but Ryu, not seeing Issei, asked. Ryu. Why Issei-san? Mother. The doctor enters with a folder in his hands. Doctor. I'm awake and fine, here are the results. He began to see what was on the paper. Doctor. The patient only has some bruises, scrapes, a broken bone, but it will heal little by little, nothing serious. Mother. And my son. Doctor. Ah, that's another case, but something serious, come here. So the four of them followed him until they reached a room where all the children from Issei's class were. Through the glass, Ryu and Izumi peered in, and in front of them was Issei with his eyes closed, bandages on his head, his arm bandaged, and a bandage on his cheek. Doctor. He's badly injured, he has 3 broken ribs, he suffered a severe blow to the head. I don't think we can say goodbye to him for a week or 2. His arm is broken, and while he's unconscious we can treat him, but we need money. We managed to remove the glass that was lodged in his eye, but this caught everyone's attention. His eye has changed color. It's now blood red. The blood has spread all over his eye, which is why it's that color now. His hair will also change. We don't know why, but a red streak appeared when we saw him here. Ryu. How much will it cost to repair Issei-san's arm? Doctor. It will take about 60,000 yen to heal your arm. Issei's mother. We will get the money to have my son's arm repaired. Girl. We can put something in since Ryu and Issei saved us and we owe them. The girl who was saved enters. This was the girl. Girl. Hello, my name is Noir. My family and I will donate money so that he can recover. Issei's mother. There's no need to be upset. Noir's mother. I'm not serious, besides, your son is a hero, he saved my daughter, and your other son Ryu is too. They saved the children. Noir. We will give money every week. Ryu hugs her and says. Thank you. Izumi also hugs her, but in Ryu's consciousness he was talking to Drake because he sensed something coming from Issei. Ryu. Are you trying to say there's something inside Issei? Drake. I'm not entirely sure, but when the explosion happened, I saw Issei's eyes turn red and I saw someone's reflection. You need to be careful now that you've saved the children and prevented your brother's trauma. Different things will happen and you must be prepared for everything. Chapter 4. After Ryu saved Issei and prevented his trauma, he found himself looking at his brother in the hospital bed, still unconscious from the blow. Noir kept her word. She started giving money so that Issei could recover. His elementary school friends started visiting him occasionally to find out how the girls he liked were doing. They always gave him flowers, gifts, chocolates and other things, all because they were in love with the same boy. His siblings were attentive to him, but his brother was the one who was happy that his trauma didn't reappear. He was talking to Drake to find out when he would arrive at Rias and Sona. But that would be in a week, exactly when Issei was going to wake up. Drake felt something inside him, an energy too strong but also evil, that wanted to wake up. Soon after, Issei began to recover. First, he moved his hand, indicating that he was waking up. Then, he slowly opened his eyes, but as the doctor said, his left eye turned blood red and his hair turned red and black. It was an unexpected change for him, but he knew that perhaps it was for a reason. The doctors went to check on his broken ribs and begin their recovery, but the readings revealed something else. His bones began to regenerate day after day, hour after hour, and second after second. It was something no one understood. But I had a theory that perhaps his blood, or rather, he recovered too quickly from any injury he had or would have. His family cried a lot when they found out he was okay. They even organized a party for him. All the elementary school children came to see him every day at his house, but the day came when Rias and Sona would arrive. Issei. Hey brother, what are we going to do today? Ryu. How about we go play in the park? Izumi. Good idea, Ryu-san, let's go. So the three of them go to the park to play tag, but 2 girls arrive. Hi, can we play? Ryu recognized that girl's voice, and when he turned around he was shocked because she was with black hair, but with 2 strong white streaks, the other was Rias with brown streaks. Ryu. Of course, sure. The 5 of them started playing, laughing and other things. They spent a lot of time playing with them until the day came when Laughs and Sona would tell them about the supernatural. Rias. Do you believe in the supernatural? Nikki. Not really. Sona. And what if we told them that we are demons? Sona and Rias took out their long demon wings. They pretended to be in shock and Izumi, well, she was in shock and so was Issei. Sona. We are demons, but we are good. We are from the underworld. Previously, a war was organized or unleashed between the 3 factions. The angels, fallen angels and demons. We, the demons and the fallen angels, are at war and that is the reason we are here. Rias. This will want you to ask me for it from many demons, angels, fallen angels, and humans, unfortunately, but God created weapons for all humans so they could protect or defend themselves from any threat, but we demons are not threats, on the contrary, we want to protect humans from any threat. And for that reason we are here, since you feel extremely powerful energies, and we witness that you have powers, or rather, sacred energy. Mickey? Seriously? Rias? Yes, please, I want you to close your eyes and think of the strongest thing you can imagine. Izumi, Ryu, and Issei did as they were told, and a blue glove with purple gems emerged from Izumi's right arm. Sona. Interesting to possess the Queen Glutton Tiamat runes, the strongest of the 5 Dragon Kings. Ryu appeared at the booster car. Rias. You possess an extremely powerful Celestial Devourer, the Red Celestial Dragon or the Red Emperor Dragon Drake. Issei tried, but nothing came of it. Issei. I don't have any power, right? Sona. No, unfortunately not, but it doesn't matter. Even without power, you're very special. You saved many children, that's a good thing. You didn't do it alone, but your brother helped you too. Issei. Yes, thanks to him for being safe, as well as all my friends who, by the way, are living happily with their families who were terrified, thinking they were going to die in the explosion. Izumi. Even I had a feeling something was going to happen to you. Issei. Don't worry, little sister, I will always protect you and be by your side forever, no matter what happens in the future. If you become stronger, then I will become stronger, regardless of whether I have power or not, but the 3 of us will always be together as a family. Izumi blushed at what she said, and her heart was beating too fast. Ask me the 10 and those 2 learned to use their powers. Izumi learned to use Tiamat's blue fire that could burn anything, Ryu the power that he brings, and the flames that can burn the souls of the bears, or rather the souls of any enemy that were feared even by the gods. Issei trained, ran, and did other things to become stronger. A day comes when the 5 of them, along with other elementary school children, go to the forest to play, accompanied by Issei's parents. But they didn't know they were being chased by rogue demons and other things that were going at top speed towards them, but in the distance someone was running, holding very large and long guns. He had white hair, muscular body, and wore a very strange suit. But he knew what he was and was afraid of hurting the people who were going straight into the forest. But the Hyoudou family, Issei was walking when he suddenly heard strange sounds. He heard something, but it didn't start, and he felt like someone else was watching him everywhere, but it wasn't just one, but several. Then he focused his gaze on something because he saw 2 red orbs watching him, but there weren't just 2, but 8. Then there weren't 8, but 12, and from the shadows came demons. One had a terrifying body, 4 arms with sharp claws, a spiked tail, its head had horns with very sharp teeth, and its eyes were like those of a spider. The other one was like a snake, its tongue was sticking out, revealing a large number of clients, but above its head it was also split in half, showing more sharp teeth. The other renegade demon had swords in his hand, 2 tails with terrifying spikes that he pointed directly at them. The 5th one had 9 tails, 6 arms, and 25 sharp teeth, along with very sharp claws. The others had different appearances, you can imagine. But what I have is the following. From the shadows emerges another demon, but this one wasn't like enzymes. This one had crab-like legs on its back, 2 horns on its head, but they were on its ears, it had very sharp teeth, its eyes were black, but with green pupils, and it wore a very strange suit that I didn't know what it was. The second one had 4 arms so that he could eat too much sugar, his mouth was twisting like a horse's mouth, his eyes were rolling, it ended up straight and terrifying. The other thing is that it was completely different from the others but bigger. It had a very large body, but what was even more surprising was that its body was covered in arms everywhere. There were arms all over its body, even hiding its mouth. Rias and Sona knew that the others were rogue demons, but the other 3 were not. They had a different aura and were very strong. Sona. Who are they? Demon. Ha 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 ha, what, are we going to answer a question from some stupid little girls? Demon 2. If we can sense that their power is not equal to ours, perhaps they are daughters of a very powerful underworld family, but as far as I know, they are all the Phoenix, but you are the Gremory clan, and Sitri are not on par with the others. Demon 3. Yes, hahaha, both of us are too powerful. But how did we eat it? We are now much more powerful. We will show you even the high-class demons. We will kill anyone who gets in our way, even if they are humans. For example, those behind you, we can see that they all possess weapons of God, but one does not. That means he is completely useless, being a human. Humans are too many and are a hindrance to anyone. Ryu. I will not allow you to disrespect my brother, you damn demon. Then the demon with arms raises his arm and extends it to deliver a powerful blow to the Ryu in the stomach, sending him flying. Issei. Hermano. Izumi. Ani-chan. In the distance, the person who was experiencing this heard their screams and lay down too far so that they could be hurt, so at maximum speed, or rather, at an inhuman speed, they disappeared in a second. Rias and Sona launched their attacks. Rias launched her destructive attack, ending a demon's arm, and Sona, with her water power, ended the life of one. The two brothers who had powers and recovered them took out their weapons, and Ryu ran and threw a dragon shot at a demon that killed it, but created a large explosion that caught the attention of the subject. What was that? Rias and the others were trying to keep the demons at bay, but then they heard a white shot coming from Izumi, whose beam was blue like fire. But this one went straight to the demon with arms, which did hit him, but I think it surprised him because his wound regenerated completely, implying that he was not just any demon, not even a renegade demon, but an immortal demon, a new one that has never existed. Demon? Hehehe, a little sweat and nothing, but it wasn't that bad. I've fought other demons like myself, even humans, but smaller children were too much of a threat. But they were no match for me. Oh, but look, one of the children told me that his friend had a red eye and that his hair was black and red. Issei was shocked that he said friend here, and if he knew what he was like, then he was one of his friends from elementary school. Issei. What are you talking about? Demon. Ho, you see, for more than a few hours I was running, going straight to a chase after some children, but only one was caught. He had black hair, blue eyes, he was too beautiful. He had a sister with blue hair, light blue eyes, too pretty. He asked her to run, that's it. He went to get help. The boy spoke to me, saying that you were going to defeat me, but I'm talking about you. He said that you saved many of your own in a school explosion. I was watching as that school burned and was destroyed to pieces and crumbled, and the cause of that fire was the one I annihilated myself, hahaha. I enjoyed hearing the screams of that boy and the other one. He told me you would defeat me, but in the end I ate him myself. I enjoyed hearing the crunch of his bones cracking. But when that girl arrived, I was about to eat her, but you humans arrived. There were 16 police officers who didn't last a second against me. I could hear that little girl crying when she saw me kill her little brother, but I let her live so she could see what the world is really like. With all that I'm saying, that demon Issei began to feel a huge anger towards him for what one of his friends did to him. Demon. But give you a gift. I will take you to where he is. This one extends 5 arms in the direction of Issei, but Ryu gets in the way and receives the demon's attack, so he spits a lot of blood from his mouth, but because the arms were moving at great speed he was sent crashing against a rock. Izumi was bleeding from the head, and they also threw her to where her brother was. Issei was in shock because they hurt his brothers, they even hurt Rias and Sona, but also his parents. Demon. Hahaha, don't wish too hard, even your friends won't be annihilated. Demon 2. Yes, what a useless human being is. Issei lowered his head, but he was crying blood, and when he looked up, both his eyes were red like blood, and he was crying blood and clenching his teeth with anger towards them at that moment. Issei. You dared to kill one of my friends, you dared to hurt my brothers and friends, and I will never, ever forgive you. He let out a powerful scream, but not only that, the air began to swirl around him. Purple, red, and black lightning flashed across his face, and his hair began to rise slowly. He screamed and screamed incessantly, consumed by the thought he had of them. The demons were retreating in fear, but it was because a great power was being unleashed within him. Then, cracks began to form beneath him, shattering the earth. The coin purse started to fly towards him, beginning to surround him, forming a large sphere. The sphere began to grow, and the lightning was visible. They could even hear the buzzing. His screams were no longer screams, but rather roars of anger and pain. Then, just as it stopped growing, it began to flicker from black to white until a huge gigantic beam about 50 meters wide destroyed the entire area. The lightning reached a height of 10,000 meters. Final color black, purple, red and white and their colors together. The lightning bolt began to gradually disappear until it shrank to a normal size, and then it began to descend until it touched the ground and disappeared. Nothing could be seen through the smoke from the sphere, but growls could be heard coming from it, but what terrified them was the following. A tail with 3 points came out of the smoke, it was black at the tips and crimson red, it was too long, we have a length of 5 meters, above appeared 2 wings like a swallow, that has a length of 6 meters in height or well long. 2 feet appeared on the ground, but they were more like the paws of a terrifying beast. It had 6 toes with long, sharp claws that could be seen to be able to unload anything without the need to use force. 2 long black arms with spikes or rather bones protruding from their elbows and shoulders and near their hands. But then the smoke dissipated until the following was seen. What was once Issei was now something else. His body was very large and muscular. On his back were long spikes, but the words "or I'll kill you" were arranged in 3 rows. On his head he had 2 horns, and his teeth were long and sharp, capable of tearing through flesh. Now he was a hybrid between a demon and a dragon. Izumi. Ani-chan. With inhuman and demonic speed, he died in front of the demon with arms and legs. Half of his body was written on it, but it didn't stop there. It buried its teeth in his neck and tore off the strokes. Then, with the rage that had been there many times, it went to his chest and ate him, but since he could regenerate, it didn't stop and began to destroy his entire body. You can hear the demon screams and screams until the screams ceased because he opened his mouth and devoured his head until he tore it off, and then his body turned to ash. The other demons pounce on him, but one impure demon was beheaded by the tail. And he ate half of his body, for he himself destroyed the rest with a beam from his mouth. The spectators were terrified and asked what was happening. What had once been someone tender had now become a being of pure evil and terror. Issei began to open his mouth, and his eyes glowed black and red until rays shot out that began to destroy the entire forest, even an entire mountain. The demons that could regenerate tried to flee but couldn't, and the renegades couldn't hear either. He kept going on, saying everything without stopping. Then he saw that the others were heading towards an abandoned house, and he chased after them. The demons that speak inside the door are completely destroyed by him. Outside, their heart-wrenching screams can be heard as they feel how he tries to kill them. Ryu arrives in great pain, holding his arm. But then he comes with only a katana, its blade black but with spikes, still in its sheath. The shot was taken as he ran toward saving his brother to prevent him from getting out of control. The other children were terrified, helping each other, even the boy and the police, to see what was happening in the disaster and chaos in the forest. They needed answers, but they needed time to process what Rias and Sona were going to tell them. But Issei, she was watching the remaining demons, ready to kill them. But then something happened and he was sent flying out of the house. There was someone else in the house. Ryu arrived and there was the same guy who was running in that direction to save them. Ryu. Who are you? The subject turns around and says. It's a magnificent night for a family like yourselves to be here. My name is Tenjin Yuzui, Pillar of Sound. I am from an organization called Demon Hunters. Ryu. Demon Hunters. Yuzui. That's right, and from what I can see, they're in a big bind, including the one who's approaching. Ryu. To which Yuri. The wall is destroyed by Issei, who was furious, and he begins to massacre the demons. Izui is somewhat surprised, but his mission is to kill demons, so he uses a breathing technique. Izui. Sound breathing first posture roar. This one moves at great speed and cuts off Issei's hand and decapitates the demons, turning them to ash, but Issei's hand heals completely in a second and he turns to look at it, but the door that was leaning against it falls and reveals a girl with white gray hair, sapphire eyes. She was about 6 years old and had a cut on her hand, and that caught Issei's attention. Izui. Well, I just needed you. Ryu. No, wait, he's not bad. Izui. Why do you say that? He's a demon, and a demon kills people. Ryu. But he's not like that, he's my younger brother and he hasn't hurt anyone, he hasn't even killed anyone. Izui. So what? Ryu. That was because he was defending us, but he's not like that. Issei kept seeing the girl whose hand was bleeding, he had no other choice and lunged at her. But before he could kill her, he intervened, putting the katana's sheath in her mouth, thus stopping the bite. Yuzui. Didn't you say you didn't kill humans? Ryu. But he did it for us, he's like this because of us. Izui. It doesn't matter whose fault it is here, the only thing that matters is being able to control him. Sing him a song or something while I take care of the girl. Issei stomps his foot on the ground and they leave the house, leaving Yuzui watching this seriously in slow motion. Ryu falls backward, holding Issei to prevent him from escaping. Ryu. Brother, if you want something stronger than this, don't let what's inside you control you. Become the little brother I want again. But remember what Yuzui said, sing him a song or something to calm him down. Then I prepare a lullaby that her grandmother told her in the other timeline, but your memory could hear the same song in this timeline. Ryu. Knock, knock, little rabbit from the little mountain, why are your ears so long? When I was little. My mother. Issei, as he was losing control, headbutted him, causing his nose to bleed. Ryu. He ate the leaves of a huge tree. And that's why my ears are so long. When it ended, he suddenly opened his eyes, and only his eyes could reflect the sadness of that sad song his grandmother had sung to him, in another place, in this same place, but instead of his sister holding him, his grandmother was holding him. His head was in her lap. She had brown hair, her eyes were closed, and she was wearing the dress she had worn before she died. Anna. Issei. Knock knock. Little rabbit. From the little mountain. Issei could hear his grandmother's voice, and with that he began to cry in the other world. Why are your eyes so red? When I was little, my mom, he ate the fruit from the red tree. And that's why my eyes are like this. The memory of Issei where he was walking with his grandmother on a hill while he held a flower for his mom and she was singing. Issei. Will I ever be able to have red eyes if I eat a lot of red fruit from that red tree? Grandma looked at him with some tenderness, then closed her eyes and gave him a small, sweet smile. In real time, Ryu was still holding Issei, but he was already stopping. His eyes were slowly returning to normal, but he burst into tears like a small child. Ryu removed the katana and looked surprised. How could his brother already be crying, implying that he was recovering? Ryu. Nice-an. He continued crying and crying until his body slowly returned to normal, remaining in his normal clothes, but torn and ripped as he shrank to his normal size and fell asleep on the floor, still with tears in his eyes. Ryu. She fell asleep. Grandma fell asleep. Greg. Partner, I must tell you something very urgent. I have already recognized the energy from which your brother came. Ryu. Whose was it? Greg. Abaddon. Chapter 5. Ryu. What do you mean my brother is the bearer of the one who killed God? Greg. I don't know, but I awakened 5% of his power, but with that he rivals a high-class demon. Ryu. It can't be, my brother is the carrier of a monster. I appreciate being called a powerful being, but I don't like being called a monster. A deep, terrifying voice made itself known, but he didn't know where it came from until he saw a red sphere on his brother's chest, but also on his left and right arms. Ryu. You're Abaddon, aren't you? The one who killed God. The one who brought darkness and terror to the world. Abaddon. It seems you know a lot about me. But if it's true, I am the one who killed God, the one they call the Titan of Darkness, a being who surpasses God and even the dragon gods combined. There is no one who can defeat me. Ryu. That's what you say, but why did you end up sealed? Abaddon. I dried myself up since I had nothing else to do, besides I thought that I could continue like this, I was already afraid of my name and everything I did. Ryu. Why are you in my brother's body? Abaddon. I chose him. Because in another timeline you did something very bad, or rather, you did. Ryu. Do you know what I did? Abaddon. Yes. Ryu. I was jealous of him, I was envious because he was stronger than us, even without having any kind of power he was very powerful, he sealed the beast of the apocalypse, he stopped the Chaos Brigade all by himself. Abaddon. Even so, you didn't have the right to take what was his. Perhaps being a dragon makes your pride very great, but that doesn't give you the right to take what was his. You made the women he once loved despise him for believing your lies. Ryu. I know and I regret what I did. I didn't want to hurt myself, but I was afraid it would push him away from me. Abaddon. Explain yourself. Ryu. He did everything and I was afraid of losing my only brother. Being the older brother, I had to protect him. I didn't want anything bad to happen to him. I feel guilty for everything I did. I let my pride and jealousy get the better of me and I didn't notice everything he was going through. Abaddon. I understand what you did. But you ruined his life and he took his own life. But at least he was able to reunite with that girl, as well as his other friends. Ryu. I know and I deeply regret what I did. Abaddon. Well, what you did is in the past, but that's why you're here. I'm going to rectify the mistake you made, or rather, the mistakes of all your parents, the leaders. Everyone has to rectify their mistakes, because otherwise things will stay the same or get worse. Also, that guy with swords doesn't belong to this timeline. He's a change. It means the demons are different in this timeline. They'll have to face different threats coming their way. You have to prepare your brother and sister. Don't tell anyone about my conversation, but tell them that he's my host. Ryu. Okay, thanks for the information. Abaddon. You're welcome, see you soon. Thus the gem that was on his chest appeared, just like on his arms, leaving him on the ground. His transformation was gone, his clothes were torn, his wounds were healed, everything he had was gone, but his hair had changed. Now the black and red color was all over his hair. Ryu. I must remedy my mistake if I don't want my sister to suffer. Greg. Yes, what will you do, partner? That's why we're all here. Ryu. Thanks Drake, you're a great partner and friend. Greg. Very much like I need to go to sleep to conserve my energy. Ryu. Rests. So the transmission cuts and he sees the moon, but something strange happened because a red part was disappearing, as if when he had transformed the student had turned red like blood. Ryu. I don't like this at all, but we have no choice if we wanted him to avoid suffering the same. Ryu-san. Turn around. And that sister who was running just like her parents and the others. Sona. What happened? Ryu. He unleashed his power, he is the bearer of Abaddon. Rias. The beast of destruction and infinite darkness. Ryu. Yes, although I find it hard to believe, he is the bearer. Nikki. So I did have power. Izumi. Are you okay, Ani-chan? He was watching his brother there unconscious, not waking up. Ryu. It's clear he loves him very much. Ryu. Calm down, it's okay to unleash your power, you can't remember anything that happened. Izumi sighed with relief to know that her brother and her secret love were okay. Rias. We should take care of the house. We don't want him to wake up here and see all this. Ryu. Wait, there's a girl in the house. The electricity enters the house directly and he finds the girl lying on the floor, knocked out. Ryu. It seems that guy left and knocked her out. So the girl takes her and they go home. Elsewhere in Japan, the subject had arrived at a place that was too beautiful. He entered an estate that was far too large, as if it were a mansion. He stands in front of other subjects who were wearing kimono clothing, had katanas, and strange hair color. Yuzui. I've finished the mission, boss. Boss. I'm glad, my son. Tell me, did something happen? Yuzui. If they weren't 3 demons but something else too. What thing? Yuzui. He had the appearance of a child, but his body was terrifying. He had a tail and was very furious. Boss. And did you manage to kill him? Yuzui. I couldn't, boss, because a child came and told me he was his brother. That surprised everyone, that a demon had belonged to her brother. Then a man with yellow hair with orange tips like flames spoke. The child who is the brother of a demon. What is that? Amazing. Yuzui. He told me that he was like that because he was protecting his brother and his family told me that it was something of his power, he was not a demon. What do you mean he wasn't a demon and what's this about power? Yuzui. I don't know, besides, he was also carrying a katana. Boss. Another hunter. Yuzui. I'm not sorry, Dad is just learning how to use the katana. I saved a little girl before her brother lost control and killed her. Then a subject with white hair and several scars. Why didn't you kill that demon? Yuzui. I already told you I wasn't a demon. Demon? You shouldn't have killed him. Yuzui. He's going to take the life of an innocent person and he has a family too. How do you think his brother would react when he kills him? Do you think he'd be okay? He'd seek revenge. I'm not interested. Boss. Calm down, my children, but tell me, Yuzui, what happened next? Yuzui. I asked him to sing him a lullaby or something to calm him down because he was raising his demonic aura or something like that. And that's what I asked him to do and he transformed back into a human. Boss. Thank you for telling us, my son. We must keep an eye on that boy. If he was carrying a katana, perhaps he will become a demon hunter someday. Everyone? Yes, boss. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.